I want to welcome you to another segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. Today is Monday, January 2014. So this is actually my first show of the new year. I wish that I had created a show right before the wild card weekend so I could have made my predictions out publicly, but unfortunately was unable to do so. But there were a couple of surprises this past weekend. Just to rehash, you had the Indianapolis Colts versus the Kansas City Chiefs. You had the Philadelphia Eagles versus the New Orleans Saints. You had the San Francisco 49ers versus the Green Bay Packers. And then you had the Cincinnati Bengals versus the San Diego Superchargers. Now, there were some surprises. I expected Indianapolis to win, but I didn't expect them to win the way they did. They came back from a 28-point deficit in the second half to win, which is the second largest comeback in NFL playoff history, by the way. But the most surprising game that I would have to say, most disappointing, is the Cincinnati Bengals. Here you got arguably the most talented team, if not in the AFC, in all of football. Offensive, defense, special teams. But unfortunately, they're being held back by their quarterback, Andy Dalton. Now, this isn't a personal slight against Andy. I like Andy, but he is not equipped to get the job done when it matters most. Just look at his history, folks. Playoff history. He's been in the league for 3 seasons now, okay? He's 0-3 in the postseason. But what's more alarming than that is, look at his numbers in the postseason. 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions. That's not going to get it done, folks. You have got to be better than that. To me, he's holding the Cincinnati Bengals back. But I'll get back to Cincinnati in a few. Because I really want to talk about the most exciting game, the game that had, from start to finish, really to me was the best game of the weekend, in my opinion. And now it's the San Francisco 49ers versus the Green Bay Packers. Now, what made this game interesting is this. The San Francisco 49ers have won the last 3 games in a row against the Green Bay Packers. Excuse me. They won the last 3 games in a row against the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers was at home. Now, the Packers this year did not have as good of a record as San Francisco. But because they won their division, the NFL rule states that if you win your division, you get a home game. So they had a home game against a better opponent, which was San Francisco. And what made this game more compelling, it was in freezing temperatures. 5-degree weather, 15 below zero wind chill factor. You're talking about cold weather. To me, it was the cold that even allowed this game, in my opinion, to be that close. Because San Francisco dominated the game, but you wouldn't know it on the scoreboard. San Francisco dominated this game, folks. But you would not know it on the scoreboard because I think the cold affected San Francisco. But because of the greatness of Colin Kaepernick, and the fact that he is really rising before our eyes, San Francisco is pretty much able to win any type of game that's out there. You want a shootout, San Francisco can win that. You want a ground and pound, smash them, bash them, San Francisco can win that. You want a defensive game, San Francisco can win that. San Francisco can play pretty much any style you want. But I figured that this game was not going to be a high-scoring game because of the weather. Now, this brings me to a very important topic. Which brings me back to Andy Dalton and the Cincinnati Bengals. If these wild card games have showed me anything, it is this one thing. You cannot win without, at the very least, a franchise caliber quarterback pulling the trigger. I mean, the guy would have to be very, very good. Franchise caliber if you're going to win. Because here's why. Alex Smith is a good quarterback. Some will call him a game manager. Some will say, he's really, really good. I would call him more of an in-betweener. He's a good quarterback who's very good at managing the game. If you look at Alex Smith's stats, Alex Smith threw for about, 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Stat-wise, he played a great game. But what was the problem? He made some crucial errors in big spots that helped cost his team the victory. Now, let me paraphrase by saying this and add this disclaimer. I want to be upfront. He is not the reason Kansas City lost on Saturday. He's not the reason, but he did have a hand in it. He missed an open throw to Gray, the running back, down the sidelines. Anywhere where he completes it, it's a first down which puts them in field goal range, or a touchdown. A touchdown, now they go from being up 10 to being up 17. That's called stabilizing the game. That was a game where Indianapolis is making its comeback. You need your offense to stabilize the game. And Kansas City was incapable of doing that because Alex Smith is a good quarterback, but he's not an elite level quarterback. And to prove my point, let's go to the second game that took place that night. Philadelphia versus New Orleans. Okay? Now, New Orleans had a 20-7 lead, which is a 13-point lead, in the second half of that game. Then their cornerback gets injured. He gets a concussion. He's out of the game. Now, he wanted to come back, but the doctors took away his helmet. But that being said, that's when Philadelphia's offense finally got rolling. Now, all of a sudden, New Orleans could not stop Philadelphia's offense. And Chris Collinsworth said in the game the most profound statement. Drew Brees and this offense is going to have to win the game. They got to keep the ball away from Philadelphia. That was the same thing I was thinking. Because had New Orleans not kept the ball away from Philadelphia, Philadelphia would have won that game. You could just see it. The momentum had swung. So what they needed, New Orleans, which is called salting away the game. They needed one of those drives where you're talking about going on a 5-6 minute drive, boom, game over. I'm not giving back the opponent the ball. And that's exactly what Drew Brees and company did. What they did was they pounded the ball. They did a good job of running the ball throughout that game. And so late, they pounded the ball. They took the air out of the ball. Okay? And basically, they did not give Philadelphia another chance to create anything on offense to win that game. That's what you call superstar level quarterbacking. Superstar level winning. Knowing how to put the game in your back pocket. In other words, I'm not going to give you another opportunity. Same thing with San Francisco and Green Bay. When Green Bay went to go, excuse me. When Green Bay went to go tie the game up 20-20, there was about 5 minutes and 6 seconds left in the game. I remember I was talking to my dad on the phone, and I said, San Francisco cannot give that ball back to Green Bay because you could tell San Francisco's defense was cracking. Because Green Bay struggled to move the ball most of the game, but you could see them coming on late in the game. So I said that they needed to keep the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands. And what did Kaepernick and company do? They went on a 5-minute drive. That's called salting away the game. But in order to do that, you need a franchise caliber quarterback. You need a quarterback that actually scares the opponent. Because he had to make plays not only with his arms, but with his legs. That's called franchise caliber quarterbacking, folks. And if you want me to go further to prove my point, just look at all the teams that survived and is left in these playoffs. Okay? San Francisco, no questions at their quarterback position. Carolina, no questions at their quarterback position. San Diego, no questions at the quarterback position. New Orleans, no question at the quarterback position. Seattle, no question at the quarterback position. New England, no question at the quarterback position. Indianapolis, no question at the quarterback position. And Denver, no question at the quarterback position. Notice all the teams that have survived, no question at the quarterback position. Excuse me. The teams that got eliminated, other than the Green Bay Packers, who has Aaron Rodgers, they all have questions at the quarterback position. Whether it was Kansas City, okay, Cincinnati, or Philadelphia. They all got questions at the quarterback position. Notice they didn't survive. Now, I believe that this is the first time in NFL history, I'm certain that this is the first time in NFL history that out of the 4 games that was played this weekend, 3 visiting teams won. Okay? You had San Diego, New Orleans, and San Francisco. I don't believe that has ever happened before in the NFL, which tells me home field advantage don't hold the same significance that it once did. Right? That's what it would tell you. However, in the famous words of Lee Corso, not so fast, my friends. Let's put it this way. Home field advantage don't have the same meaning it once did, except in certain places. Certain places still have a true home field advantage. I'll give you an example. Before 2002, Green Bay has never lost a home playoff game at Lambeau Field. That is a remarkable stretch. We're talking decades and decades of football. And they never lost a home playoff game before 2002. There was a mystique. There was a true home field advantage. In other words, if Green Bay was at home, you wasn't going to beat them. Then this young team from Atlanta, a dome team with a quarterback by the name of Michael Vick, went into Atlanta and put on a show. In the snow, put on a show and beat Green Bay in Lambeau Field. And ever since then, it's like it broke the dam, so to speak. Because shortly after that, Minnesota ended up going into a few years after that, Minnesota went into Green Bay and won. So now, once Atlanta winning and won, it was like it broke the mentality that, oh, you can't win in Green Bay. Because Atlanta went in there and won. See, so now Green Bay does not have the same true advantage it once did at home. But there are a couple of stadiums where there's still a true advantage. It is very difficult to go into New Orleans and win. Very, very difficult. But there is no difficult place to go play and win on the road than Seattle. The way that stadium is built, they're saying it's like being on a runway with a plane coming at you. That's how loud it is. And then you got to deal with the elements, whether it's the rains, the sleet, the snow, whatever the wind, whatever the element is, you also got to deal with that. There's a reason why in the last 2 years, Seattle only lost one game at home. In the last 2 years, how many teams can say that in today's NFL? Seattle still and New Orleans still have what we call a true home field advantage. It's hard to win in those places. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because you're going to have some interesting divisional games to this week. You got Phillip Rivers versus Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck versus Tom Brady, okay? Colin Kaepernick versus Cam Newton, Drew Brees versus Russell Wilson. Now, let me stick with the NFC right now. Let me go to the AFC. I'm going to already give you my picks for this upcoming week. Okay? I like Denver to right the ship and beat San Diego. I was debating this because actually I was on the verge of picking San Diego. And usually there's an old saying, go with your first instinct because it's usually correct. But this time I'm going to go against my first instinct and go with Denver only because they're at home and they got Peyton Manning. But if it wasn't for that, the fact that they have Peyton Manning, I would have gone San Diego. San Diego seems to be on this magical ride. First of all, they should have not made the postseason because Kansas City should have beaten them. But San Diego had some help from the referees. Then this week, they went into Cincinnati and smacked Cincinnati around. That's impressive. But now they come this upcoming week, where they get ready to play Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. So I'm picking Denver, but I don't have a strong feel about them. Then it's Indianapolis traveling to New England to play the New England Patriots. I like Tom Brady to win that game. And the New England Patriots to win that game. Just a gut feeling on that one. Even though I'm actually rooting for Indianapolis to win, but my gut feeling tells me New England's going to win. Then, now let's go to the NFC. You got the San Francisco 49ers traveling down to Charlotte, North Carolina to play the Carolina Panthers. This is going to be a very good game. Matter of fact, I expect all three of the games that I just mentioned to be very good games. I think they're going to be close games where it can go either way. I'm going to pick San Francisco because of the playoff experience. But it would not shock me if Carolina pulls this game out. But because of the experience, I'm going San Francisco. And I hope for Cam Newton's sake, Cam plays well. Okay? Because you don't want to be considered another Andy Dalton. Trust me. So I hope for Cam's sake, Cam plays well. Then the game that I don't think is going to be as close, though I could be wrong, I don't think it's going to be as close as people maybe think it's going to be. And that's Seattle versus New Orleans in Seattle. That's the reason why I brought up about the home court advantage, or home field advantage here. Because they have a true home field advantage. It is hard to win up there. Now, New Orleans was not that impressive when they beat Philadelphia. They made mistakes. They turned the ball over a couple of times. You do that against Seattle, this week you're going to have problems. Now, Seattle should be getting back Percy Harvin. I seriously doubt he's going to be 100%, but 90% of Percy, or 70, 80% of Percy Harvin is better than 0% of Percy Harvin. That's my theory on that. This game, I don't think it's going to be that close. I think Seattle should win by at least 2 touchdowns. I think they will win by at least 2 touchdowns. I don't think it's going to be as close as the other games. I could be wrong. And in a way, I kind of hope I'm wrong because you want to see competitive games. But I just think that Seattle, now they struggled down the stretch of this regular season. But I think what it was, they were preparing for the postseason. You kind of get a little bored at times, you know what I'm saying? When you know you're expected to win, so you might not bring your intensity every game. But I think now that the playoffs is here, Seattle is about trying to prove a point. So I like Denver. I'm picking Denver to win, though my gut says San Diego. I'm picking New England to win, but I wouldn't be shocked if Indianapolis went in there and won. I'm picking San Francisco to win, though I would not be shocked if Carolina won. And I'm definitely picking Seattle to win this game. I would be shocked if New Orleans win. But we shall see regarding that. You know, in one of my last episodes, or previous episodes, I compared Jim Harbaugh to Rex Ryan. And this show today is not about beating up Rex Ryan. I already said what I wanted to say. But I wanted to be clear that my thing was not towards Rex Ryan. My thing is really towards Woody Johnson, who's the owner of the New York Football Jets. That's who my real issue is with. It's not really with Rex Ryan. Rex is Rex. It's very important because, see, a team like Cincinnati, you're on the clock. What you do this offseason is going to tell me a lot about your franchise moving forward. Do you draft a capable quarterback with the first 2 picks? I mean, with in the first and second round of this year's draft? I say you should. To me, you need somebody who can knock Andy Dalton off the block. Go get yourself a real quarterback because you're being hamstrung by it. Now with the Jets, you build the talent around Geno. So this way we can take a real proper evaluation of Geno because you cannot evaluate Geno off that chicken scratch you called talent there last year. Let's be honest. You can't evaluate Geno that way. And so we need to see if the Jets are going to put the right talent around Geno to see if this man can actually play in this league because you only have a window that is this small. So you don't have time to sit here and be experimenting year in, year out with a quarterback that is less than franchise caliber. It's important that these teams get it right. I want to thank you for watching another segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. I want to wish everybody, if you haven't watched any of my previous episodes, I want to wish everybody a happy new year. And I look to see you soon. Thank you.